Okay, so now that you understand how the finished product actually looks and how it's a bunch of pictures meshed together with transitions and a voiceover, you'll get the understanding of how I actually compiled that. Now, first and foremost was the voiceover. How did I do the voiceover? Well, there's two separate ways that you can use, use to record your voiceovers. You can simply add audio, which you can record with your microphone, and then obviously throw it on into your editing software, and I'll go over how to actually do that when we compile the audio file of that. Or you can simply do a voiceover by recording your screen. Now that's why I did suggest getting a screen recording software, but you don't need one. So in this specific example, I'm going to give you two that are free. Screencast-O-Matic is 100% free, although it does limit you to 15 minutes. Now, you can upgrade the version of Screencast-O-Matic to the paid version. That's currently what I'm using right here is the paid version, which does not have a watermark and does not limit you on the time that you can record. Now, the watermark will be, if you use the free version of Screencast-O-Matic, it will be down here in the bottom. Little caveat there, but it's hardly noticeable and barely anybody's going to notice it except for you, honestly. But like I said, you can upgrade, and it's like $9 for the year, I think, or like it might be like $12 for the year. It's really, really cheap. It's not a big deal. But if you're looking for 100% free software, I also use OBS, which is right here, and you'll see me pop up right there. And OBS is 100% free as well. You don't need to upgrade. It stays 100% free. I use it a lot. But I also use Screencast-O-Matic when I just want a simple recording of my screen, because OBS does a couple things that Screencast-O-Matic doesn't, and vice versa. Screencast-O-Matic is literally simple. It's so beginner-friendly. You can just literally hit record, hit pause, hit stop, and it pops up as a video file in MP4. Whereas OBS, you kind of have to set the settings up. You have to do a bunch of different things. And it's easy to use for sure, and it's beginner-friendly. But Screencast-O-Matic is just so much more beginner-friendly. But now that we have that out of the way, that's basically how you do the voiceover. Now I saved my outline of my voiceover here. This is literally what I did when I recorded it. So my very first thing was let me find the ALUX video. I'm going to ALUX.com like an idiot. Hold on. Let's go to ALUX. 15 things rich people do, I believe it was. And let's find it. Here it is. 15 things rich people do that poor people don't. And I like this, and I felt like I could rank for this and potentially model my video after it. So what I did is I took it and I said, I'm not going to do 15 things, and you'll see why in this course as I go through that this can be a time-consuming process. So what I did is I pushed it down to 5 things that successful people do that unsuccessful people don't do, because you're just trying to use their mold. You're not trying to actually steal their content or anything like that. So I did 5 things successful people do that unsuccessful people don't do, like you just watched, and this is 15 things rich people do that poor people don't. Similar, but same but different. Not exactly the same, but pretty similar. And then what I did is I outlined those 5 things. So they're learning inclined. This is literally what you just heard that in that video. This is literally me reading this. Now, obviously, I practiced this once or twice. Didn't take too long. But then I pretty much went down and read it. I said, they're learning inclined. Successful people don't assume that they know everything. They're constantly trying to improve their craft. As Confucius said, that's literally what you heard me read. So that's basically what I did is I compiled one of these together, and then I just did a voiceover until it sounded pretty good. And then what I did is I captured that voiceover, obviously, and I used it for the videos. So that's that. That's pretty self-explanatory. So then what you're going to need is relevant pictures to mesh together. Now, this is something I'm going to go into in its entirety, and we're going to find them in the next one. And I switched it around a little bit. We're not going to do what I said. Instead, we're going to do 3 things rich people have that poor people don't. That's the video that we're going to run through on this course to kind of show you and compile it together with you. And then obviously if you have any questions, feel free to ask them either down in the course Q&A, you can message me on the platform, or you can simply email me to Brian, that's Brian with a Y, at bgmediainnovation.com. And as always, I'm willing to help. But a couple places that you're going to want to get photos. There's a couple great stock photo sites. iStock is a great one. You'll see that I used it here. iStockPhoto. Why it keeps disappearing. iStockPhoto.com is a great one. It's a great stock photo site, and Pixels is a great one. I use that all the time, and that's probably what we use for the majority of this course. Pixabay is a great one. Another great stock photo site. And literally, you can just go to Google and take stock photos, and that will pop up with a bunch of different stock photo sites. Unsplash is another good one. There's a bunch of them. So you can literally find stock photos anywhere. Shutterstock can be a good one too. I'm going to use Pixabay probably, Pixabay and Pexels for the time being during this course, just to kind of show you and compile some relevant things together for you. Now, I suggest using stock photo sites because nobody has the rights to these pictures. Anybody can use these pictures. If you do use Google or a search engine to find your pictures or take a picture off something else, it's 99.9% of the time it's going to be fine, to be honest, but you just don't want to run that risk of, basically running into a problem where somebody claims ownership of that, and then that video or your piece of content gets taken down because that's not actually you don't actually own the rights to that video and that photo in the video. It's just something that a lot of people overlook that can be avoided, because you can find a lot of great pictures on stock photo sites, and believe it or not, a lot of these stock photos on these sites are taken by high quality photographers, and they put them on these sites and you can use them. So a lot of these are really great quality, and they can go really well in your video. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to want a stock photo site, and like I said, I'm going to show you all of this in a second. And then I want to touch on how I actually compiled this together. So you'll see here that right here is the video 1 file. And we're going to go over all this in a second when I show you. And then that's basically the audio. So if I let it play, you'll hear the audio real fast. And I don't actually think my setup is not actually set up to record the audio here, so I won't actually go. But basically that's the audio file. And then what I did on top of that is I went ahead and I compiled all these pictures. So what all these are is they're pictures that I took off stock photo sites with simple transitions. And that's, I'm going to show you how to actually do the transitions in a second when we actually go through the process of creating the new video for you, which is 3 things that rich people don't have, 3 things that rich people have that poor people don't. And we're going to compile that entire video in this course for you, so you see how I run through the process, and you can learn by, demonstration and understand that. So just briefly, if I let this play really fast, you'll see what I mean by transitions. These little black things in here, if I kind of maximize this, those are transitions to the next photo. And you can do them on both. If I wanted to make a transition here, I'll show you that, obviously, or you can simply, just put them on one. I'm going to mute this because I don't even know if you're hearing this, because I'm not sure if that's going to record, but you'll see here as it goes to black here and there, it transitions from photo to photo, and that's basically all you're doing. It's literally you're just compiling photos, dragging them to how long on that piece of content essentially your photo is relevant for, and then you're transitioning from photo to photo. It's really simple, and I'm going to show you how to do all of this in the next lecture actually, as we it'll be 2 lectures from now, as we basically run through the entire process. But I'm going to come up with a script for the 3 things that rich people have that poor people don't. So you can see, and I'll compile a script just like this, and then I'll record that, obviously off camera in between lectures, in between the next lecture and the lecture after that. And then we'll add that audio file on top so we can start compiling the editing, to this. So like I said, I'm trying to run through this slow. I think I give a lot of you guys credit. I think that you have, you're obviously very bright. You can understand this. But if at any time I'm going a little bit too fast, you can obviously just, slow it down, or you can go back and restart the video and the lecture, or you can always, like I said, ask me a question. You can either message me on the platform, shoot me an email to Brian, that's Brian with a Y, at bgmediainnovation.com, or, ask something in the course Q&A. I'm always willing to help. With that being said, we're going to jump into the next lecture, and I'll see you there.